Hello and welcome. I'm Erica Riggs, attorney and partner at Disability Law Group, and this is our podcast, Disability Lawyers for the Community. Today, for our third episode, we have Zainab Baydoun with us. Zainab is a senior administrative law judge, or ALJ, for the state of Michigan, and she's also the founder of EmpowerMe Project. I have had the distinct pleasure of first meeting Zainab when we were law students at Wayne State University Law School. And now here we are about a decade later, and I have just loved watching and supporting Zainab in her many roles helping women and people in need. So with that, welcome Zainab, and thank you for being here.
Hi, Erica. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast today. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you.
We are so excited, and the work that you do is truly important, and I'm excited to have you here to tell the community more about it. So why don't we start with you telling us a bit more about yourself and what you do day by day?
So as you mentioned, I am an administrative law judge for the state of Michigan within the Michigan Office of Administrative Hearings and Rules, or MORE. We are an agency within the Licensing and Regulatory Affairs Division of the state of Michigan, and our office is responsible for presiding over administrative law hearings for various state departments. In particular, I work for the Benefit Services Division, who handles cases for the Department of Health and Human Services and the LARA Bureau of Community and Health Systems, with respect to the licensing of children and adult facilities, and through DHHS, the licensing of child welfare and foster care.
At my firm at Disability Law Group, we strictly specialize in Social Security disability and in veterans disability benefits. And this topic and the various benefits and resources offered through the state come up a lot with my clients and people that reach out to me. So what we do at my firm is we handle the federal benefits. When you hear Social Security Administration and the Department of Veterans Affairs, we're talking about federal benefits that I assist with. In your role as an ALJ for the state of Michigan, can you talk to us a little bit more specifically about the types of benefits that you get to review that maybe people would apply for at DHHS and the types of claims that you make decisions on?
Yeah, so the Benefit Services Division handles cases for DHHS with respect to eligibility for public assistance cases, food assistance cases, cash assistance cases under the Family Independence Program, which is the cash assistance program for individuals who are caring for children, and the State Disability Assistance Program, which is a cash assistance program for people who are disabled or caring for disabled individuals. Similar to the Social Security cases that you handle at the federal level, Erica, I issue decisions regarding state disability assistance and whether a client or petitioner has met the requirements for state disability assistance. It's essentially making a very similar finding to that of a Social Security ALJ. We follow the same framework for our decision making for those state disability assistance cases. With public assistance cases, there are so many different programs, as I mentioned, the food assistance, the cash assistance, the state disability assistance, medical assistance, various types of Medicaid programs, depending on your circumstance, child development and care cases, and state emergency relief cases, which are coming up quite a bit through the pandemic with relocation services, rent to prevent eviction, that sort of thing.
Yeah, these benefits you mentioned, and there are many of them, and they're so diverse. A lot of people don't know that they exist or how comprehensive they really are. And these benefits are a lifeline for many people, especially now during the pandemic. Have you seen an increase in cases that have been filed or hearings over the last year or few months?
You know, we've definitely seen an uptick in public assistance cases through the pandemic over the last few months. I don't have figures or specific numbers on that, but we've definitely seen an uptick in individuals who are requesting assistance and who may need assistance given the current circumstances.
Mm-hmm. In your
whether it be
role,
healthcare, whether it be emergency food assistance, or as mentioned, state emergency relief regarding utility bills, um, energy service bills like heat and electric bills, and then preventing eviction.
now in your role as an ALJ, what do you find most rewarding about the work you do?
You know, I have to say, in my role as an ALJ, I've been an ALJ now since February 2013. So I'm going on a little under 8 years. So in about 3 weeks, I'll hit the 8 year mark. It's been such a rewarding experience for me, and it's really allowed me to showcase my commitment to public service. And it's given me an opportunity to really interact with people from different backgrounds. Doing the work that I do and the diverse work that I do, I've come to understand the importance of the decisions that I make and how impactful they can be on the parties who appear before me. Um, the outcome of the cases that I hear can be really significant and have financial or employment implications with respect to licensing of children and adult facilities, or um, employment implications if you are involved in a case that is a child abuse and neglect central registry case. And the implications in the state and what's at stake is for both the state of Michigan and the petitioners who appear before me. Oftentimes, we're seeing that the health, protection, and safety of children and vulnerable adult populations is at stake. Um, so for me, just knowing that I'm able to play a role in serving the public and making these decisions that really have an impact on people's lives is extremely rewarding.
I'm not sure how you find the time to do it all. I think the listeners, without even really delving into your nonprofit type work, I think the listeners are probably thinking the same thing as I am, that you're like the real life modern day Wonder Woman. And I do want to tell them a little bit more about that. Do you find time for, your own hobbies or interests that you enjoy?
I really try. Sometimes the cases that I handle are very emotionally taxing. And I think it's really important to always find time for self-care and to practice mindfulness and to really be so thankful and blessed, feel so blessed for, the blessings that we've been given in this world. It really makes you just sort of be so thankful for what you have. I try and find time for travel. It's been a little bit difficult given the circumstances of 2020, but I do like to find time every few months to sort of regroup and recharge. And I like to do that by, taking a trip out of town to sort of clear my head. I hang out with my nieces and nephews a lot, and really just sort of unwind.
Now, certainly your compassion that you have for the work that you do day in and day out, and to find time to create this incredible nonprofit is certainly evident. And did you always know that you wanted to go to law school and maybe even become a judge one day?
I always had this idea of law school in my head. And I've always known since I was a little kid that it was something that was a goal of mine. Um, at that point, I didn't really know where that path would take me and if it would lead to me becoming an administrative law judge. But it did, and I'm really thankful that it did.
Mm-hmm. Let's dive a little bit deeper now into your work with your nonprofit. As I mentioned, that's called EmpowerMe. And we are now at the beginning of a new year. That's certainly been met with uncertainties and challenges for many people. And your nonprofit seeks to help women that are suffering from abuse and ending the stigma surrounding speaking up and out against domestic violence. When did you start Empower Me, and why, or what was your vision at that time?
So we officially launched the EmpowerMe Project on December 4th, 2018. And we just did, a soft social media launch. I had been thinking about this project for quite a while, and I had been sort of putting the pieces together in my head. But it wasn't until I actually wrote out the mission statement and started to tell people about the project that it really started to come to life. The mission of the EmpowerMe Project, we're a women-led nonprofit educational and legal aid organization that's focused on assisting and empowering marginalized women and domestic violence victims to alleviate the barriers that may be hindering their paths to independence. In March of 2019, we got approval through the IRS for our 501c3 application, and we became officially recognized as a tax-exempt charity organization, which is really great. The EmpowerMe Project has two core components, and that's education and legal services. So as you'll see throughout our discussion today, our movement is designed to empower women through education. We partner with local nonprofit organizations, crisis shelters, colleges, and universities to develop programs and initiatives that are focused on educating women on how they can use the law as a resource and a tool to empower, protect, and add value to their lives. In terms of prevention, we educate women, including students at local colleges and universities, about the importance and dynamics of healthy relationships so that they're able to recognize common behaviors, patterns, and traits to avoid when they're developing new relationships. And we also provide important information for women on what their legal rights are in various situations that they may encounter. Our goal is to help people see that the law is not a barrier to independence, but rather a step towards it. So that's where our focus is on education. The legal services component of the EmpowerMe project consists of a few different things. We're developing an attorney referral list where volunteer attorneys will provide pro bono legal services, legal advocacy, and aid services on a variety of subject matters that will come through a case assignment referral system set up through the organization. The goal there is to assure that the women EmpowerMe Project serves have meaningful access to the legal system and the courts. Ultimately, we'd like to alleviate the legal barriers that may be hindering a victim's path to independence. What we've seen so far is that oftentimes women in marginalized communities and domestic violence victims either don't have any information or have incorrect information about the law and what their legal rights are. And that can be the law relating to child support and child custody, the filing of PPOs, landlord-tenant issues, immigration issues, criminal record expungement, bankruptcy, you name it. So the goal there is to solve that legal issue so that a woman can remove herself from what may be an unhealthy or a toxic relationship. We are setting up legal clinics with attorney consultations, question and answer forums, one-on-one mini consultations with attorneys, and eventually, once enough funds are raised, we'll hopefully be able to cover the costs of certain filing fees and other costs that may be associated with representation. So essentially, those are the two components of our EmpowerMe project.
Talk to us a little bit more about, you mentioned the partnerships, and this is so important, especially with a newer nonprofit like yours and the impact, the potential for impacting people and just getting the word out there about the work that you do. Talk to us about who you've partnered with. You mentioned organizations, law schools, nonprofits, maybe even, and some of the events that you've hosted.
Yeah, so we developed our Power Up series, and the Power Up series is designed to encourage women to feel empowered in the life choices that they make. And we do that by providing support and helping to expand their knowledge. So the first Power Up series of sessions that we hosted were legal question and answer forums presented in collaboration with Zaman International, which is, I know, an organization that you are very familiar with based on your volunteer work in the past. So Zaman International is an organization whose mission it is to facilitate change and advance the lives of marginalized women and children by enabling them to meet essential needs common to humankind. So we collaborated with the Boost Vocational Literacy Training Program, which offers women the opportunity to break the cycle of poverty by learning job-ready sewing and culinary art skills and English language literacy. So far, we have hosted two in-person Power Up sessions with the women who receive services at Zaman, where our volunteer attorneys have done legal question and answer forums covering a range of topics, including immigration, Social Security, disability, state supplementary aid, family law, domestic violence and abuse issues, landlord-tenant, homeowner, real estate, child protective services, wills, trusts, and probate issues. So we've covered a number of topics. And in the 2 in-person sessions that we hosted at Zaman in 2019, we had probably a total of 60 women who participated. Wow. And we provided legal information to. In November of 2020, we sort of had to pivot a little bit and couldn't really do the in-person Power Up session, but we converted our Power Up session to a virtual session held by Zoom, and we had 42 women in attendance, and we had a number of attorneys who were providing useful information also about the changing landscape due to the COVID pandemic and what changes can be expected when going to court, what things the women should be mindful of if they have a legal issue during the pandemic, that sort of thing.
That was going to be my next question, was how, COVID-19, if at all, has created hurdles for you with your work with EmpowerMe. And it's certainly refreshing to hear that you pivoted and you found ways to leverage technology to continue your work and the mission of EmpowerMe. And that's so wonderful to hear. What has the community response been to EmpowerMe?
The community response has been so amazing. I put together through the EmpowerMe Project, along with some volunteers in December of 2019, our first women's resource fair and legal clinic. And that was actually hosted in collaboration with Access, which is the largest Arab American community nonprofit in the United States. We had an informational panel that provided information for our attendees on what to expect when appearing in court, the services that are available to individuals who are self-represented, and services through each organization. We had a representative from the Wayne County Third Circuit Court, Judge Charlene Elder, Zainab Brown, the Executive Court Administrator for the Wayne County Third Circuit Court. We had Seema Shleba, supervisor from the Access Victims of Crime Act program. And we also had a representative from the Michigan Legal Help Program, which I don't know if you or any of your listeners are familiar with, but is such an invaluable resource and tool for anyone who might need legal assistance who may not be able to afford an attorney. The Michigan Legal Help Program representative was Ramsey Badwi. We had 12 attorneys who practice in various areas of the law, providing one-on-one legal consultations. We had health screenings provided by Beaumont Hospital and the Lebanese American Medical Society, and a resource fair where organizations provided information on critical resources available through their programs, including Access, Saman International, First Step, Lakeshore Legal Aid, the Michigan Legal Help Program, and the Wayne County Friend of the Court. So that was a really, really, really great event. And after that event, and after a few of the other events that we posted, we've gotten some really good feedback from volunteers or people who we have partnered with, and even clients who have received services from EmpowerMe Project. And I can share a few of those, testimonials if you'd like.
I was just about to say, I'm sure that people listening like me would just love to hear those real life success stories as an example, maybe of someone you've helped, or testimonials from people who've been involved and maybe volunteered with your nonprofit. So yes, please tell us about that.
Yeah, so this one came from MB, and obviously for confidentiality purposes, I'm not going to be using any of our clients' names, but MB was an EmpowerMe Project client who was referred to me, and she was looking for, an attorney who she could get in contact for her legal issue. And she stated, upon being referred to Zainab, I was immediately shown genuine concern, guided to resources that I didn't otherwise have, and received overall support. The distress due to truly one of the most difficult times of my life was alleviated because of the genuine sincerity and assistance that I received from Zainab and the EmpowerMe Project, of which I will always be so supportive of.
Wow.
Like I said, we did a lot of work, or we do and continue and will continue to do a lot of work with Saman International. And you know Gigi Salka, the Boost
Mhm.
director of Saman International Erica Well, I believe.
Mhm.
And she had this to say about her involvement and the Boost program's involvement with the EmpowerMe Project. She states, Saman is a nonprofit organization whose clients are marginalized women and children living at or below the poverty line. Many have suffered traumatic experiences as refugees and domestic violence survivors. The EmpowerMe Project has been a wonderful resource for our clients and social workers. Lawyers have volunteered their time to present to our clients on topics affecting their daily lives, such as immigration status, tenant and landlord issues, child custody and welfare, as well as Social Security and disability benefits. The panels gave our clients an opportunity to ask questions and get a better understanding of their rights and legal manners. As low-income women struggling to take care of their families, they are often taken advantage of and do not have access to solid legal advice. Saman appreciates the partnership with EmpowerMe Project to help guide our clients through difficult legal matters or just to educate them on what their rights are so that they can protect themselves when conducting legal transactions. Thank you, EmpowerMe Project, for your time and dedication to serving women in need. We look forward to our next panel conversation. Our clients have a lot of questions waiting for you.
Zaman's story and mission is so inspiring, and you can actually learn more about their work in our last podcast, our second episode, where we highlighted the work that they do. So I definitely recommend that, and you'll see that it's no wonder why Zainab decided to partner with Zaman and her work with Empower Me. And why don't you tell us what's next? What's next for Empower Me? What are you currently working on? Are there any upcoming events?
So like I said, we just hosted our virtual Power Up series in November of 2020. But what I'd really like to do is I'd really like to have a second annual Women's Resource Fair and Legal Clinic. And ideally, I'd like for that to be hosted in person at a time when it's obviously safe to do so, given the current circumstances.
Mm.
But I'd really love for that to be an annual event for us and for it to grow and get bigger each year. The response was the project and the response to that program in particular were so well received. The feedback that we got was so inspiring. And the amount of volunteers who really were committed to donating their time and their knowledge and their resources was so inspiring. So that's really where we'd like to go for the next step
Mhm.
is to definitely set up and organize our second annual Women's Resource Fair and Legal Clinic.
And you mentioned also resources being an incredible tool, both in terms of the educational aspect as well as the legal advocacy component. Is there somewhere that the listeners can go to learn more about the resources that you've compiled? Maybe they have somebody in mind, or maybe an organization would like to refer somebody over to learn more about this.
Yeah, so there are a few ways that you can get involved with our project. You can visit our website, empowermeproject.org. You can also um, send us an email at empowermeproject.org@gmail.com for any questions, or if you have any, feedback that you'd like to give us, or you want to learn more about our project. You can raise awareness about our Empower Me project and our mission by sharing our message with your network, signing up for our Facebook page to stay updated on our future events. You can sign up for our attorney referral list to take on a pro bono case or volunteer at one of our Power Up series workshops. You can also sponsor an educational event or workshop or donate to help expand our reach and continue to allow us to provide critical services to women in need. And that can be done using the PayPal option on our website.
You know, one more question. I think this is so important is what would you want to tell a woman or somebody who might be in this really tough situation? Maybe they're suffering from abuse and not sure where to turn. What would you want to say to that person?
I just want to say to them that the the Empower Me project was really started because I really believe that one does not have to go to law school to have basic information about what your legal rights are. And to know that there is support outside of your situation. that might not be that support might not always come from family and friends, and that there are so many resources and so many organizations that are out there and that are available and that provide critical assistance to women who need it. And I believe really the hardest part is just reaching out and taking that first step. But just knowing that once you do that, you will not be alone and you will always have that support from not just the EmpowerMe Project, but from the various organizations who we have already partnered with.
And we are so grateful to have you here, Zainab. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell us about yourself and the critically important work that you do. And I look forward to watching Empower Me grow under your leadership and getting involved. And hopefully, this podcast, my goal here is to just raise awareness about these issues and the work you do. And hopefully, we'll have just expanding your pool of resources available to women on this critically important topic, as well as hopefully volunteers to get involved.
Thank you, Erica, for having me on today. I am so humbled to be on this podcast and in your company, and in the company of all the other individuals who appeared on your podcast before me. I want to thank you for using your platform in such a positive way and really just shining a light on the good work that is being done all across the state with attorneys and with organizations. So thank you for having me on today.
Of course, our pleasure. Thank you for listening to our third episode with Zainab Baydoun, founder of EmpowerMe Project. And again, this is our podcast, Disability Lawyers for the Community. Thank you and take care.